Hey there, and welcome to GamePoints, our weekly little get-together. We talk about the past week in gaming news. I am, as always, your host, Steve Brown. Joining me today is David Smith. Sorry we didn't broadcast last week. I was horribly sick, and while I was getting over it on Monday, I did not want to talk for an hour and completely throw my voice back out of it, and I've seen where that goes. So, sorry.
Suck it.
Today, after the day after Christmas here in America and most of the world, I think most of the world celebrates Christmas, right? Nah, that could just be like super Eurocentric me talking. But anyways, we have a few game announcements that were made, a Valve lawsuit we need to talk about. We're also going to go over our Game of the Year picks at the end, if you want to stick around for that. As always, feel free to join in the conversation, to chat in the live chat. If you're watching us here on Twitch TV/GamePoints, feel free to comment down on YouTube below with whatever your picks may be. Just be mindful of the delay. The conversations do tend to go pretty quick. But before we get into all of that, David, did you get anything gaming-wise for Christmas?
I got a Superboy S.
What the hell's a Superboy S?
A Superboy is a portable Super Nintendo.
Oh, shit.
The Superboy S is the new version that's got a better screen, a better sound card, all that other shit. But the best part about it is it's not just a portable Super Nintendo that you can walk around. It actually takes full cartridges, too. Like I was plugging in Zombies Ate My Neighbors the other day and playing it. But it also has video and audio out and 2 controller ports on the damn thing. So it's
I've
legit
never
a
heard
Super
of this
Nintendo.
thing. It's got like it's a portable. It's a handheld. It's got a screen and everything built in.
Yeah, it's a handheld. I mean, it's thick as all hell because it takes Super Nintendo games. So don't expect it to fit quite in your pocket like a Game Boy or something. But yeah, man, it's pretty sweet. I just like it because the video cable, as far as I can tell, actually scales it well.
Okay.
So things look pretty damn good on a TV because I'm plugging it into like a 55-inch like HD TV, and it doesn't look washed out and shitty like a lot of old school games do. Like if I plug my Super Nintendo in, everything looks washed out. But this actually makes it look pretty clean, pretty close to pixel perfect. Not exactly there, but what are you gonna do?
Does it have like emulation and everything built in, or does it only take cartridges?
It takes cartridges, but it is region free. It's got a PAL NTSC option on it.
Oh, nice. Okay. So if you want to play that old copy of Terra Enigma that you've been waiting for, you can.
Or if you have Mother 2 lying around or something.
Yeah, anything like that. But yeah, I on the other hand just got bourbon, and I'm happy for that. So
Nice.
we'll definitely go from there. So slow week in news. Like I mentioned earlier, just basically a couple of announcements. Valve getting sued. But our first story is actually one from a little while ago. We were going to talk about this last week, but I got sick. However, David, you being the audiophile you are, I wanted to make sure that we covered it. And that is, well, David, why don't you go ahead and lead us on this one?
So this is actually pretty cool. It's an Xbox One and Windows 10 thing. So starting next year, they're actually going to be putting Dolby Atmos support into the Xbox One, Windows 10 PCs and tablets. So the Xbox is going to be the first console to actually have this. Dolby Atmos is there's a shit ton of audio things out there, and a lot of people are used to hearing like surround sound or Pro Logic, stuff like that for higher end, higher fidelity audio quality. Dolby Atmos is like the new hotness from Dolby as far as audio fidelity. So it's a pretty big deal if you're an audiophile because it kind of makes the Xbox One S like the media machine because it has 4K playback and Dolby Atmos with hi-fi audio. So if you have a really high-end like 7.1 surround sound system, you should probably just buy an Xbox One. Like no joke, that's probably going to be better unless you go spend like $1,000 on a proprietary Blu-ray machine.
Yeah, and fuck that. From the Xbox Wire itself, this is essentially Microsoft's PR website. If you play Overwatch, that sentence, let's go and skip past all that. Here we go. Here we go. And the great news is that starting next year, Dolby Atmos will be coming to Xbox One and Windows 10 PCs and tablets. With Dolby Atmos, sound moves precisely all around you and above you. You can hear where your allies and enemies are in three-dimensional space. Snipers on the roof, you hold them over your left shoulder and know where to aim to take out. Same goes for an attacker hovering behind you. Beyond its tactical advantages, Dolby Atmos also makes your experience of games much more intense. You feel like you're inside the action. I mean, it's essentially a souped-up surround sound.
Here's the big thing, though. If you're a PC player that you're using a stereo set of headphones, this thing is going to probably be able to like give you a faux sense of 7.1 audio on an old school pair of like stereo headphones. Obviously, it's not going to sound amazing because you have shit headphones, but that's the kind of technology we're looking at.
So this is something that can actually make just straight stereo headphones sound like the surround sound. To a degree.
Yeah, like
to a degree. I'm not saying it's going to be surround sound.
Obviously, good headphones are good headphones and bad ones are bad, but It will make your bad ones better
Okay.
and your
So
good ones great.
that should be coming next year for Xbox One and Windows 10 as Microsoft slowly tries to merge those two things into essentially one unit. David, I know you're excited for that.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited. It's funny because it almost makes me want to go buy an Xbox One S just to use it as a media machine.
Well, that's something that
Like,
PlayStation Pro's apparently not doing with what was it? They're not allowing
there's
Blu-ray support or some shit.
there's no 4K drive in it.
That's what it
So
was.
like the PS4 is kind of just there for games, and it will have the best looking games at least until Scorpio comes out. But I mean, the Xbox, if you're at all, it's funny because it goes all the way back to their old E3 showing, where they were trying to jam like TV and all this other bullshit the Xbox can do into your face, and PlayStation jamming games. Well, it's 2 years later, but hey, guess what? That's where both consoles went. Xbox went for all the multimedia, trying to be the one box on top of your table or on top of your TV, but PlayStation just wants to be your game console.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that separation. I don't need my PlayStation 4 being a multimedia unit at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, next topic. Turtle Rock, the guys that made Evolve and Left 4 Dead, they kind of announced a new game recently on their Turtle Talk, which is their version of a news press release. Turtle Rock Studios developing new IP, new AAA FPS to be published by Perfect World Entertainment. For those of you who don't know, Perfect World is that company that does a bunch of free-to-play stuff, which doesn't bode well, as we will read on. Perfect World Entertainment Incorporated, a leading publisher of online games, and Turtle Rock Studios, an independent developer best known for its work on the critically acclaimed Left 4 Dead and Evolve, today announced their partnership of development of a new AAA game IP for PC and console. The top-secret, free-to-play first-person shooter features the most intense online co-op action, bringing Turtle Rock back to what it does best. No.
Just no.
Yeah.
Just a flat no.
Sorry, guys. I love Left 4 Dead. I appreciate what you tried to do Evolve, but going free to play didn't even say that game. Telling me that you're making a game out the gate that's free to play just is like the death knell for me. I just won't even give it a second look.
Hold up.
Okay.
Because I think you're completely wrong.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because Turtle Rock did try to make a good game. And Evolve, if you played the beta, was fucking amazing. That game wasn't screwed specifically by Turtle Rock like building it. It's because the fact that it was published by what, EA or some bullshit.
You're saying that the publisher, which I believe was EA, no, it's 2K.
Had a heavy.
2K.
Okay, 2K
kind
of had a heavy hand in that shit. But we remember the problem was all the DLC and all the other shit that came out after that game was launched, but not the game itself. The game was fucking fun. And the biggest thing that I want to talk about there is that Turtle Rock, after switching to free-to-play, was doing a ton of shit to try and make that game viable and get people interested. There was a bunch of patches, a bunch of updates, a bunch of shit. And I actually started playing Evolve recently because, hey, guess what? It was fucking free, and it's still fun. Then right as they were getting ready to release another update, fucking 2K shut them down. Said, hey, guess what?
2K
Turtle,
games.
You're done. You no longer get to work on this game. Go fuck yourself. And they had to have that blog post saying, hey, even though we've been working on it for a while and we were doing our best to make our fan base bigger, there will be no further updates to this game. And now Evolve is officially dead, but it wasn't Turtle Rock's call. Perfect World Entertainment, as ridiculous as it is actually pretty fucking big in the free-to-play department.
They absolutely are.
MMOs. They have a shit ton of free-to-play games that a lot of people play. Like, a lot. And
But are any of them good?
Yeah. I've actually played a lot of their games.
Such as?
And I need to look it up. Hold on. They've made a lot of shit. And I've played a lot of shit.
I don't
know how quickly to fucking Google this. But like they made Neverwinter Nights or Neverwinter, that MMO.
Okay.
Which
Star Trek Online, which the space combat
Star
is
Trek
fine
Online,
in.
which I played.
Torchlight 1 and 2. Well, they didn't make it. Keep in mind, let's be clear. They don't make it. They publish them. There's a difference.
But here's the thing. The things they publish keep support.
Okay.
That's mainly where I'm going.
Yeah,
I think as far as a publisher works,
2010, and that game's been dead since late 2010. So, and they're still supporting it.
And that game still gets content patches.
Yeah.
So Perfect World doesn't really abandon a game, and Turtle Rock wants to make a game. So there's potential because these motherfuckers did make Left 4 Dead, and they did make a really fun asymmetrical shooter. It was just executed terribly because of
I think it's fair to say
what
that
I
Turtle
think is
Rock
mishandled.
didn't create, but they certainly brought the asymmetric shooter to the forefront. Like,
Yeah.
how many Left 4 Dead clones are out there now?
How many fucking Evolve clones are out there?
Yeah.
Like, Evolve happened, everyone ran from it. How many clones can you think of Evolve that do it better because they weren't hammered into the ground by shit marketing?
Fair enough. Is it going to? I have such a knee-jerk response to free-to-play. The second I hear that, I just tune out immediately. That is a little bit
Which I
unfair.
think is
I
funny
have played some
that you
free-to-play
have
games that are fun.
such a horrible reaction to free-to-play games when I'm pretty sure we regularly play Heroes of the Storm. So it's not impossible that free-to-play games are awesome.
That's why I kind of was going to go there. But it's just you hear that to begin with, and I think it's because games like Heroes of the Storm are the exception to the rule. Because for the most part, free-to-play games are complete garbage. I personally feel it shows a lack of confidence in your product if you're not going to charge for it. And honestly, your model is designed to be predatory. You're looking for that 0.001% who will spend tens of thousands of dollars on your game. That means you're ignoring the other 99.999% who is just playing it for free. It's an unsustainable business model, in my opinion, and I think that whole market is already about to start to collapse. You're seeing it fall under the weight of on the Apple Store. You're starting to see Steam kind of turn into that, not so much free-to-play, but in the same quality control issues.
Shovelware.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of free-to-play is shovelware, because it's designed to go, oh, it's free, I'll take a look at it.
Well, my major call is just that this game will more than likely be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I like Turtle Rock. Don't get me wrong. I liked Left 4 Dead. I liked what they tried to do with Evolve. But we'll see.
I wouldn't write it off completely. I mean, you can, but I will probably keep an eye on it. And if it's something I'm interested in, I'll probably give it a shot.
Fair enough. No details on what the game exactly is, other than being a free-to-play.
We know it's a cooperative, free-to-play, first-person shooter.
Which is also kind of filling up quickly because you have Lawbreakers coming out, I believe, the same year that will be. And let's face it, Battleborn is going to go free-to-play. That's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. We've done that for a while, though.
Anyways, that's something to keep an eye out if you were a fan of Evolve or Left 4 Dead. Next topic. There is potentially a new Batman game on the horizon from Warner Brothers. And we're talking of the Arkham-style variety, not like based on any movies or anything like that. Now, this is via Kotaku, and this is just a rumor. However, this rumor comes via Jason Schreier, and as we've established, this man, knows people.
Yeah, he knows somebody.
Yeah, he gets shit done up.
He knows somebody in lots of places.
Yeah. Also, specifically in the Montreal studio, because this happens to be in Warner Brothers Montreal, it sounds like sources say WB Montreal cancels unannounced Suicide Squad game and shifts to Batman. The rumor goes on to say that Warner Bros. Montreal has canceled the long-running Suicide video game source to Kotaku. The studio will now focus mainly on their other big project, a Batman game starring Damian Wayne.
Oh, snap. Son of Batman.
Son of Batman. And Talia al Ghul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damian Wayne's the son of Bruce and Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
In that timeline. He becomes Robin. He's badass.
Yeah, he becomes Robin. Awesome role in Injustice, by the way, if you haven't played Injustice. I don't necessarily want to spoil a 4-year-old game or 2-year-old game or whatever. But I'm down for this. It gets it out of the Arkham time frame. It kind of moves it along to something else where they can kind of do something completely unique with it. They don't have to hold caveats to having, or the old tradition of, having the Joker in there, and you don't always have to have the Penguin or the Riddler. You can introduce new villains with Damian Wayne, and I'm excited for that.
However, one important thing to mention, that Warner Brothers Montreal is not the same group of people that made Arkham Asylum.
They are not Rocksteady.
These are the motherfuckers that made Arkham Origins.
Yes.
So please temper your expectations that this game is going to run at launch. Because chances are it fucking won't.
It probably will never run, to be quite honest with you.
I do think it's funny because Arkham Origins and their mobile game both had rumors of a Suicide Squad game, and then that movie came out.
Origins
and nothing
ends
happened.
with Amanda Waller recruiting Deathstroke.
Yeah, and it just doesn't fucking happen.
Yeah,
so.
that you can blame that game getting canceled on how Suicide Squad
the movie
received.
Did. Yeah, that's fair.
Because they suddenly went, shit, we can't tie this to that. Let's just go all hands on deck on the Damian Wayne game.
We'll see.
Here's the thing. I love the Arkham games. Arkham Asylum was not only the best Batman game ever released, but possibly one of the best games released that year.
Dude, yeah. it kind of reinvented the third person action game. It really did.
Absolutely.
That combat system has been duplicated and replicated so many times in so many other games. Like Shadow of Mordor runs off that combat system.
Another
Mad Max
WB game.
uses that
Also another
combat
W
system.
game.
Yeah, it's just funny.
But yeah, you're right. That battle system, that combat system has.
Well,
been
you can even say that like lends to how the Assassin's Creed games play now. If you want me to go outside of WB.
Yeah, and in fact, there was that. Remember that Shadow of Mordor ripped off animation assets from Assassin's Creed, if you recall. So I'm tentatively excited for this because Arkham Asylum and Arkham Knight were awesome, but the last two Batman games, Arkham Origins, is specific, or not Arkham Knight, Arkham City. The last two Batman games, though, Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum.
You were fucking this up.
They ran,
Asylum
were fine.
Asylum and City were first. Knights and Origins were later.
Yeah, thank you. The last two, Knight and Origins. Origins was nowhere near as good as City or Asylum.
It's still a buggy mess.
And still a buggy mess.
They have no intention of fixing.
Arkham Knight was borderline unplayable for a lot of people, and in fact was unplayable for a lot of people if they got it on PC. In addition,
it's still sitting in my Steam library, and it's still uninstalled.
And if it did play it, most of it was behind the Batmobile, and the Batmobile sucked in that game. I don't know how Rocksteady, or the guys who made Arkham Knight, the original team, made the Batmobile so fucking boring, but they did, unfortunately. So their newer games don't give me hope for this being a solid hit, but I'm always reminiscent about the older two, and I hope that this is more like them, but we'll see. I'm hoping that because it's Damian Wayne, they can kind of break away from the baggage that was associated with the last two, but we'll see how that shakes out. Anyways, next topic. Double Dragon 4 is announced.
Double Dragon 4 out of nowhere.
Absolutely out of nowhere.
Really.
Just a quick little teaser trailer came out. It's about a minute long or so. As you can see, it looks just like the original Double Dragon. Let me get the video going here. Coming out for PlayStation 4 and Steam. Being done by Arc System Works. These are the guys who did Guilty Gear. And it is coming January 20th. There we go.
It's just out of nowhere. I don't really know what to do with it. I know people that are excited for it. I will probably not play it unless it's awesome. I don't know.
I mean, it looks like old school Double Dragon. I'll definitely give it praise for that. I mean, it straight up looks like they just took assets and put it onto there.
Yeah. They just made a new one.
So yeah, Double Dragon 4 is on the way. Like I said, this is a quick news week, a bunch of short stories, but that was something that I thought was very interesting. Next topic.
Speaking of sequels that we didn't see coming and are totally a surprise, a new Dynasty Warriors game.
You're damn right. Now, I like Dynasty Warriors myself, and I was kind of excited when I saw this.
I love Dynasty Warriors. DW2 was my jam back in the day.
This
just made 7 more of them.
This tweet here from Koei Tecmo America says, "We are excited to share information that Dynasty Warriors 9 is currently in development in Japan. Keep in mind, in Japan, it's actually Dynasty Warriors 8. It's really weird like that because somewhere along the line, because the first Dynasty Warriors here
you have to remember that
was
Dynasty
not
Warriors
a Musu game.
Yeah, you also have to remember that it's not technically 9. It's like 16 because every game has 3 Extreme Legends, 3 Empires, 4 Extreme Legends, 4 Empires, 5 Extreme. Like, it's a little ridiculous how many of these games are actually coming out, but I tend to skip about every 3, so I'm actually due for a new Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah, same here. I'm looking forward to this one as well. A couple things we do know about
fun.
it.
It's mindless.
Yeah, well, this one might be a little bit different. They are trying to say this is a rebirth for the franchise. The few things we do know about it says, one, that the entire game will be kind of open world. You can explore all of China on one map. I don't know how.
Yeah, I do like
really
the fact that they want to make
that.
all of China a playable map. That's pretty sweet.
And it's also going to feature all 83 characters from Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, which is the newest iteration of that game, as well as a few extra guys on top. So you're not getting anyone cut from what I hear, at least from Dynasty Warriors 8. I don't know how this is going to shake out. I hope they don't break away too hard from that formula, because the point of a Dynasty Warriors game is to be the mindless, I'm going to push X 4 times and then B over and over again.
Yeah, I'm just here to break controllers.
Yeah. I want to see people getting tossed left and right. I don't necessarily want an open world game from this, but I'm willing to give it a look-see. I don't think it's going to be as open world as a lot of the gaming press is making this out to be.
Mm.
I think when he says that, I think it's going to be more
I think it's going to be the overworld from Mortal Kombat Legends.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's going to be some kind of an overworld map, and then when you get to your fighting destination or whatever the battle is going to take place, it kind of instants you into that area, and then there you go. They are going to do the branching path stories with the weird alternate histories and the bad ends if someone lost a certain battle, and like that, which I also really enjoyed from Dynasty Warriors 8. Did you play 8, David?
No, I think 7's the last one I played.
I don't know if this was in 7 or not, but in 8, they had a like what if scenarios. Like what if Cao won at the big river battle.
Yeah, and then you play like a what if battle or something.
Yeah, and then the story will branch
alternate
off from
timeline.
There. I like those things. They were cool. Don't ask me to give you names of areas beyond like Cao and Zhuge Liang because I don't know any of them. I'm not that bundled up on my Romance of the Three Kingdoms history. But yeah, that
you never read those books.
Soon. Those books are obtuse. I tried once.
Yeah, I read them in high school. It was weird.
I'm sure it was.
There's like 400,000 characters, and they're all Chinese names. So keeping track of them is damn near impossible.
Yeah, because their first it's their family name first. So you have like Cao Ren, Cao Si, and
yeah. Well, and there's also the fact that none of it's actually spelled like that because those are all the Americanized ways to say it. Because half the time, if an American tries to pronounce the original names, we end up cursing in Chinese.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because Cao is actually like, I'm probably gonna cuss in Chinese, but it's like Sao or something like that. Except for the fact that if you say that slightly wrong, you're actually just saying fuck.
Well, all right then. Well, you know.
It's great. Yeah.
Next topic as we blaze through these. Atlas has a new RPG coming.
Surprise!
This is via Gamatsu, rather, not Famitsu. And it's going to be called Project Re-Fantasy. Now, the difference from this compared to their other games is while Atlas normally is known for their Megaten games, which are traditionally modern day or even slightly futuristic in the case of Digital Devil Saga, Project Re-Fantasy is, well, a fantasy game. And that's more or less all we know about it. We know nothing about announced platforms, price, release date, or anything like that. Just that it's a new IP RPG set in a fantasy world. Cool.
That's the big thing, is that it's a new Atlas game. It is not a sequel to an Atlas game you've played.
Yeah, I like Atlas games. They're brutally, I don't want to say brutally hard, but they are
difficult and fun.
And not traditional in the normal sense. I mean, there's like a lot of like grinding that you would find in, say, like a Dragon Quest game, but they tend to march to their own beat, and I think that's why I enjoy them quite a bit. So it's going to be exciting to see what comes out from here. Wish we knew more about it, but that's, for the most part, as far as I can tell, all the details we have on it. So keep an eye out for that. That's Project Re-Fantasy sometime in the future. Don't even have an expected release date.
It'll happen.
Next topic. Eternal Darkness has been trademarked again.
I wouldn't even read into this.
No, you shouldn't.
This is not even news. This is literally the Eternal Darkness copyright was about to expire, and they re-upped it.
Absolutely. The only reason why I'm even mentioning this is to counter a lot of the misinformation I'm hearing from people saying, "Oh my God, Eternal Darkness 2 is on its way." No, it's not.
Yeah, this is like people that say Half-Life 3 is confirmed because they hear some kind of news story that vaguely mentions Half-Life in some kind of way. It's just no, they re-upped the trademark. Nothing's gonna fucking happen. You're not getting a sequel to Eternal Darkness. Nintendo doesn't actually love you. Get over it.
Now, the only thing that I can think of beyond the I'm just going to re-up this trademark to
remaster
keep it under my
Switch
name is that there'll be not even a remaster, just Virtual Console for the Switch.
Yeah.
That's about
it. The Wii U, does it Virtual Console GameCube games yet?
No. The Switch is going to be the only thing that does it, because I don't think the Wii U can handle it, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, so that's really good Switch for to replay all your GameCube games. Oh, we talked about that. We want to play Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. Again. But yeah, so if you hear rumors about Eternal Darkness 2, don't buy into them. Also, don't believe Shadow of the Eternal's ever coming out. Dennis Dyack is a train wreck. Let's be honest here.
Speaking of train wrecks and games that you're probably never going to play, let's talk about that thing that Cloud Imperium's doing.
Star Citizen is changing its engine mid-development. It's 7 or 8 year development at this point. Not 7 or 8 years. 4? 5?
It's been a fucking while.
It's been a long time. Anyways, this story comes via Kotaku UK. And it goes on to say that Star Citizen has changed game engines. Cloud Imperium Games announced tonight, when the article was released, that the switching game engine to Amazon's Lumberyard, according to the press release that CIG sent at 11:30 p.m. this evening. It has been in talks with Amazon for the past year, and the latest patch, 2.6, which was released earlier today, is already running on the new engine. So listen, before we get into bashing Cloud Imperium Games, Star Citizen, for its long clusterfuck of a development cycle, I will say this. Lumberyard is very similar to what the CryEngine was.
It's probably based off of and then branched and remodded.
Yeah. And CryEngine is what Star Citizen was really going on. Chris Roberts himself went on the forums and did say that it only took an engineer or two, a day or two, to switch everything over because of how similar they were.
Mm-hmm. Changed
so
a couple lines
don't
and
necessarily see this as, oh my god, they're rebuilding the whole game from the ground up. Mm-hmm. They're not. You have to have something to rebuild from the ground up before you can actually do that.
Womp womp. They do mention the fact that they were having to heavily mod the CryEngine to work with Squadron 42.
Yeah.
Because, this game has blossomed into like 3 games in one game because feature creep is fucking real when it comes to Star Citizen. And don't fucking bash me. I want to play this game just as much as you do. I would be outrageously hyped if this game came out and was everything we wanted it to be. It's just 5 years into it. I'm having a hard fucking time believing it.
Yeah, I mean, this game's fucked. Sorry. I don't want it to be fucked. I god damn, I want this game. And I know we've gone on this rant multiple times, so I'm not going to go on it right now.
I want to have a bunch of friends that go in on a capital ship and start rolling around and shoot fighters out and go on adventures and go fucking...
I just doubt this game's going to deliver that, and that sucks, because I want
it. Well, see, the problem for me is that I want the universe that EVE Online delivers, but for me to be able to play it out in a first-person perspective with friends.
Yeah, I would like EVE Online as well without spreadsheets.
Yeah.
EVE is too micromanagement for me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
dude, that game has a web browser built into it. I used to read fucking like FARC and shit like that when I would play that game.
Nice. But yeah, does this mean anything for Star Citizen in the end? Not really. I kind of more or less wanted to mention this story to tell people who are freaking out over this instance. This instance isn't what you should be worried about. Everything else is what you should be worried about with Star Citizen. This is, for all intents and purposes, don't look at it as them changing engines as much as upgrading what they had into something else that was already very similar to it. So, once again, really not a news story, just presenting this to let people know, don't freak out over this one instance, freak out about the other stuff with Star Citizen. Next topic, and I believe our last for the day as we end this early, and that is Australia has fined Valve quite a bit of money. This comes from the Sunday Morning Herald out in, that's not the right article. There we go. Let's see if we can bring this up. There we go. Sunday Morning Herald, an Australian local newspaper. And it essentially goes on to say that gaming company Valve Corporation has been hit with a $3 million fine after the federal court found its online game site Steam breached Australian consumer laws. The court imposed a maximum fine requested by Australia's compensation regulator because of Valve's disregard for Australian law and lack of contrition. A court found in May that Steam's website breached Australian consumer law because it stated consumers were not entitled to a refund and had no access to minimum quality guarantees. Steam must now introduce a compliance program and place a notice in size 14 type on its Australia website informing customers about their rights. Remember when Steam used to do no wrong?
Yeah, back in the day.
Those days have come and gone.
Those are quite a while ago.
They're quickly good on Australia. Normally, I hate regulation, as you can tell by my Twitter handle. But in this case, it's like you can't keep selling shit and expect to get away with it, Steam. You are going the way of the App Store. When 60% of your titles are released in, 1 year or 2 years? Because you've just opened up the floodgates full of bullshit everywhere. All this Unity flipped asset garbage that's fucking permeating throughout the Steam pages now and showing up on the front fucking page even. You're going to have this happen. And when you quote, where was it at? Because of Valve's disregard for Australian law, it's like you knew that this was a problem and you said fuck it, and the judge called you out on it. Steam, what the fuck happened to you, man? Gabe Newell. You used to be the PC Master Race Golden Boy. I remember seeing images of you straddling a rig above the dirty hordes of the console masses, and now you're fucking becoming the new pariah of the gaming industry because of all the garbage found on your platform, man. It's not too late to right the ship, but fuck me, you're becoming a laughingstock. David.
Yeah, I'm sure he's crying in his bags.
Yeah,
of
I'm
money
sure he's crying his billions of dollars, right?
No, they don't give a fuck.
No, they don't. And that's ultimately the problem here, is that they don't give a fuck. They've stopped caring.
Nope. Yeah.
They opened the floodgates for one reason, because they get a cut of everything sold.
Yeah.
That means you buy fucking Slaughtering Grounds or some piece of shit, was it the War Z or Infestation Stories is what it's called now, or some broken
If only GOG would add cloud saves to Galaxy, then they'd actually have a competitor. But they don't.
No, and that is the problem right there as well. Is I think that Steam has such a monopoly on digital distribution.
Origin's getting better.
It still sucks,
left such a sour taste in everybody's mouth, and like multiplayer gaming is such a clusterfuck that no one cares that much. GOG is cool, but no cloud saves, which makes it really difficult because, hey, guess what? You got a new computer and you lost your Witcher 3 save, because that shit happened to me.
It's sad to see what used to be a venerable company going this way, but hopefully
still better than you play, though.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get hit with more and more of these fines and finally wake the fuck up. It's double fuck though, because they don't even have like investors to answer to. So if Gabe Newell says fuck it, I don't care, then fuck it, he doesn't care. Anyways, excuse me. Now that that's over with, that's more or less the news that's happened over the past couple weeks. David, Christmas just happened. I'm sure you got a bunch of gift cards. What can you play this week?
It's the end of December. There ain't shit coming out this week. If you want to play a video game, you're going to wait till January. This is your moment. This is the only time you have to play games that you've already gotten this year.
He's absolutely right. Nothing of consequence comes out this week. We can't even report on anything worth a damn.
Nothing comes out unless you're looking at Steam Greenlight bullshit.
Go through and play your backlog. Go through and clear out stuff that you've been wanting to play. Take up the new sales that are going on right now and play that stuff, because nothing of consequence is out this week. Or what you could do...
You got a few weeks till Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, that's that. What you could do, though, is if you are really, really hankering for a game right now, is you can listen to what our topic of the week is, and that's going to be our best games of 2016, and pick up one of these guys.
Oh, shit.
Now...
How are we doing this? Are we just going to do dirty yelling at each other and see what happens?
We're going to do this a little bit different. Normally, we do the back and forth. Instead, David, what I think we're going to do is I want you to say your top 5 games, give your justifications for them, why you like them, and then I'll do mine. If you're watching us live, feel free to type in your top 5 games in chat. We'll see if we can get to them. If you're watching us on YouTube, comment down below, and we'll also get to them that way as well. This is, of course, participation encouraged. So the criteria. Any game that came out in 2016 is up for grabs. DLC and early access don't count. For example, you can't give Game of the Year to Witcher Blood and Wine.
What about games that came out this year on a console if they came out on a different thing last year?
I didn't think about that hard. Yeah, that's fine. Important. That's fine. I'm going to let that go.
Sweet.
If it came out of early access, like Darkest Dungeon did, for example, you can add that. But if it's in early access or if it's DLC to another game, they don't count. So, without further ado, David, lead us off.
Okay, well, I'm going to do a cheesy one. Literally the reason I just asked that question, because I figured you'd yell at me if I said this game, but it did come out this year on the next-gen shit, and that's fucking Rocket League, because if you haven't played that game, go buy it.
All right. Why do you like Rocket League?
Yeah. Rocket League is a game that you can play for 5 minutes, and it's horribly addictive, and it's rocket-powered car soccer. I can't really get into why it's so fun. You drive a flying car to hit a soccer ball into a goal against other people. There's a power-up mode where you get a grappling hook, and you can freeze the ball, and you can force people to boost forever. There's a hockey mode where the ball is instead a giant puck, the entire ground is covered in ice, and you're playing hockey. There's a basketball mode where you're trying to get a basketball into a hoop. It's just fucking fun, and
It
it's
has
on
a
everything now.
surprisingly strong competitive scene too.
Oh yeah, pro play is really fun to watch,
Sounds good.
and it came out on Xbox One this year, so that's why I'm counting it on this list.
All right, all out.
Yeah. Anyways, keep going. What's up?
Yeah, go ahead and do all your 5.
Okay, my next pick is actually Salt and Sanctuary.
I've had my eye on this one. I don't know if I'll ever pick it up, but it does look cool. What is it for those who are watching?
Salt and Sanctuary is a super fun game because it's a side-scrolling Dark Souls.
I've heard that comparison multiple times.
It's kind of old school looking. It's very dark in tone. It's very damn hard. It's like it's not even color. It's like a grayscale game, but the ambiance is there. I mean, I guess it kind of is color, but it's like when it's desaturated. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, everything's kind of washed out.
Everything's a little washed out, so it makes the game very atmospheric. It sounds great. The combat is very difficult, but it's very rewarding because it's all timing. It's all memorizing what enemies do. It's getting surprised. It's getting surprise killed. It's spawning back again and trying it, leveling up as you die. It's just fun. It's 2D side scroller. I'd play it.
And I'm pretty sure that's on sale right now through Steam. I don't know about consoles.
Yeah, it's actually dirt cheap on Steam right now.
Okay. Next game, David.
All right. So the next game is a game that I have a love-hate relationship with, but it's huge, so we have to talk about it, and that's Overwatch.
Okay.
It is more or less Team Fortress 3, except made by Blizzard instead of Valve.
You can definitely make that comparison.
I feel like everybody knows what Overwatch is, so I don't know if I need to say too much of it. But it's a class-based first-person shooter with objectives.
Why do you like it, and why do you hate it? Rather than tell us what Overwatch is, because you're right, everyone knows what Overwatch is. What is up with your relationship with Overwatch?
It's a game that you can pick up and keep playing, but it will really spurn that competitive side of you. So it'll actually start feeling like League of Legends if you're one of those kinds of players, because you can get pretty damn frustrated at it. And there's a lot of salt in the community. There's a lot of people that are very frustrated, that are very loud and angry. So you do have to deal with a lot of assholes. Unfortunately, the game is starting to get slightly toxic. I mean, that's always a difficult thing to say because Blizzard does a lot to kibosh that shit, or at least they try to. But it's just, sometimes it's fun. Sometimes I'm having the best time of my life. Other times I'm just so mad I want to uninstall it. So
fair enough.
But you got to bring it up. Got to be on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Number 2.
So this is actually a surprising one for me because it came out at the end of the year. But fucking Battlefield 1 is so good.
Now, I have yet to play
really
Battlefield
is.
1.
It's, I think, probably, I mean, you have the argument for Overwatch, but I think it's the best like first-person shooter really of the year. The sound design, of course, is amazing because it's a dice game. Then you have the fact that it's actually taking place in World War I, which everyone thought was going to be a terrible mistake, but somehow they pulled it off, and it really gets you in that sense of you're in a fucking hopeless conflict, like especially if you're playing the giant operations modes, where you will just die, and you have no idea why. You should have been in a trench, you should have been crouching, and it's brutal, it's dark, it's difficult, and there's mustard gas you have to deal with, and it also has what I think is one of the best opening levels of any first-person shooter.
Okay.
In the single player campaign, that first level is amazing.
It focuses around the Harlem Hellfighters, right?
Yeah, and it takes you through the boots of several different soldiers, with the end of each soldier's section being them dying, just hopelessly outnumbered or hopelessly outgunned or just getting caught by a random frag out of nowhere, and it's brutal. It's great. It's fun.
Yeah, it's on my list to definitely take a look at. All right, David, your number 1 game of 2016.
Well, this one's pretty easy for me.
I already know what it is, but go ahead.
It's Dark Souls. It's Dark Souls in the Fray.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's the true sequel. Dark Souls 2 was fun. I played a lot of that game, but 3 actually feels like the sequel to the first one. The first one being one of my favorite games of all time. It's a game I already have more hours in than I had in the second one. It's just funny. I love that gameplay. I love the rewarding feeling of actually figuring out a boss and beating it. I also love the feeling of playing with friends and cheesing on kids. I mean, it's exciting.
All
Although
right.
the lack of poise in that game does suck
I
because poise
think
builds
they
are gone.
fixed that very recently,
Mm,
like within a couple weeks. Like, because the poise stat was busted. It was just flat out broke.
no, they actually specifically released a statement saying that it was in as designed because they didn't want it to be abused as much as it was in the previous games.
Really? Because I was never able to tell.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. They just built the game a weird way. It's
All
kind of
right.
like the second one completely nerfed all agility builds. This one kind of nerfed poise.
Okay. So Dark Souls 3 is your game of the year 2016. And that is a good point to lead right into my list because Dark Souls 3 is my number 5 game of 2016.
Yeah.
I like the first Dark Souls. I could care less about the second one. Dark Souls 3 took everything I loved about Bloodborne, which is my favorite of the Souls game, and combined it with Dark
Even though,
Souls 1. So Dark Souls 3 is a lot faster than the first one was. It's not as fast as Bloodborne, but I felt like I was actually able to not have to fight my controller to do stuff. They did expand on the lore to the first one. The second one might as well have just been a complete side story. I think the settings are a lot prettier than the first one. I love that you go back to not New Londo. No, New Londo. Shit. What's the name of that city?
and Orlando.
Arlondo, not Ludolondo. Arlondo. I like that you go back there. I like that you see what happened to that. The ending fight against the Lord of Cinders with that weird cross in the background where the sun's making the light coming down. It looks amazing. I like that. It sounds like if you do the right ending, the game actually ends. Because the bailiwick of Dark Souls has always been everything sucks and nothing ever ends. You can actually end everything, it seems. Keeping in mind that Dark Souls lore, of course, is completely ambiguous and it's up to interpretation. But
It's all in the item notes.
this definitely feels like a good end to the franchise, and they have said as much that this is going to be the last one. In addition, as I said before, it controls a lot better. It's a lot faster. It doesn't feel as slow to me. That's why I love Bloodborne so much, and that's why Dark Souls 3 is also my number 5 game of the year of 2016.
Though it did have some bugs at launch, they were all smoothed out. So picking it up now is a great idea.
Number 4, David mentioned already, Overwatch. More or less for the exact same reasons.
Love it and hate it.
Love it and hate it. I love the fact that I don't feel like I totally suck at a first-person shooter game like I do most of them. I hate the fact that sometimes I do want to throttle even people I'm playing with that I know. Mm-hmm. It's like, motherfucker, I told you. I get it. I get why people get angry at that game. Doesn't mean you should. But yeah, Overwatch.
It's so hard not to.
Solid game. Excuse me. Number 3, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I love fucking
I knew it was going to be on your list.
This is absolutely cyberpunk down to the core. Admittedly, the Prague setting is a bit odd for a cyberpunk setting, but Golem City is absolutely what you think of when you think of Deus Ex. I love that they've gotten rid of the boss fights that were kind of ham-fisted into Human Revolution. I love that you can actually beat the game completely without killing anyone. You can do a complete stealth run through it. It looks good. It plays good. The plot is very abruptly ending, unfortunately. And I hate that, and it's clearly designed to be sequel bait, and the rumors are likely... The rumors was that this game was supposed to be significantly larger than it was, and it was kind of cut up into chunks. It definitely feels like that. Before I get to my second and first game, I do want to address the Beaver Weaver Xbox One, I believe is what that is. We are talking about our top games of 2016. We didn't mention Forza. I am not a racing fan, but David is. I just don't think he's had a chance to play Forza yet because he does not
Yeah,
Xbox
unfortunately, I don't have an Xbox and my computer does not have Windows 10, so I've not been able to play Horizons yet. Although I do actively have a copy of Windows and an SSD ready to go. I just need to put that shit in my computer and turn it on, and then I will be playing that game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree to the Beeves.
I actually need
amazing.
I need a new power supply. I don't have another of the small power supplies for the SSD.
Definitely get that going. But thanks for joining the chat. Forza Horizon is actually worth taking a look at if you like racing games. It's just not my genre.
It does look phenomenal.
Number 2, Dishonored 2. improved on everything with the sequel, and then some. It's not necessarily the spiritual thief successor someone's been waiting for, but it is damn good. Highly suggest you take a look at it. And number one, if you've been watching the show at all, this should come as absolutely no surprise, but my number one game of 2016 is Doom. The soundtrack is kick-ass. The protagonist is completely silent, but has more personality than a lot of other protagonists did in this game, just on his fucking animations alone. It is over-the-top violent. It controls amazing. It runs silky smooth at 60 frames per second on even modest rigs. The gunplay is amazing. There actually is an in-depth plot to it, surprisingly enough, if you go looking for it. But much like in porn, the plot is kind of expected to be there, but not necessary, so you can just cut right to fucking ripping off heads of demons if you wanted to. Doom is fantastic. Ignore the multiplayer. Don't even give it a second thought, but that single player is fucking divine. Go out and play it now. That more or less wraps up our picks for 2016
I'm surprised
games of the year.
I thought for sure you were going to pick Pokemon Go.
Yeah, a bit of behind-the-scenes knowledge. We did actually, when we were thinking about the top games of 2016, there was the discussion if we should include games like Pokemon Go into them because of how big of a cultural phenomenon it was.
And then we realized that's not even a fucking game.
Yeah. Not only that, but these are our personal choices for 2016, not the best overall total. Because if we were going to do that, we would be forced to just print up what 5 games made the most money this year and go from there, or insert.
Or like
here.
Who got the highest reviews on Metacritic or something like that.
Fuck
no,
that.
This
These
is just the shit we had fun with.
Exactly. And neither one of us have played everything that came out. So your list might vary. Just because we didn't mention your game doesn't necessarily mean it was always that great. But I think that kind of wraps things up. If you want to tell us what your favorite games of 2016 are, if you're watching us live, much like the beeves down there is, feel free to type in chat. If you're watching us here on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment down below. And while you're there, give us a subscribe and like and all that, and you can watch all of our old shows there as well. I also agree the Bees Mobile Gaming is picking up something that we need to kind of focus a little bit more on than we have been. It still has that stigma of being a bunch of free-to-play trash, but there's a lot of potential there.
I've been playing Groove Coaster.
Yeah. Anyways, David, I think that kind of wraps up for the show. We are ending a bit early because, well, there were no new releases this week. There's little to no news this week, and we're all kind of recovering from Christmas. So this has been GamePoints episode 73. Thank you for joining us. We do try to stream live every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. If you can't catch us live, feel free to check out our YouTube page. Just type in GamePoints, one word. We should pop right up there in the first few choices. You can go follow us on Twitter at GamePoints PC. You can go give us a like on Facebook and all that good stuff. If you want to follow us individually, I'm Stephen Brown at CapitalistPig21. David over there is at PalStrife_story. And that's it. We will see you next Monday. This has been GamePoints, and we are out of here.